Hi folks, my name is Rachel Rabinowitz. I'm the Visitor Services Coordinator here at Historic London Town and Garden. We're about to start our musket demonstration, so watch and then we'll have a Q&A afterwards, so feel free to make any comments that you'd like right at the bottom of the screen, and I'll ask any questions that you have. Enjoy!
Yes. There's your audience. Oh, there's our audience. Can't beat it. What you're going to see, let me take these glasses off. I'm not supposed to have glasses. What you're going to see out there with the troops marching, the idea is the quickest way to get anybody anywhere in line is to march them there, okay? So in the tactics of the day, it was called what they called line tactics. One big line stands against the other one and fires your muskets at each other anywhere from 50 to 75 yards. Any farther than that, you don't have the rate and hit kill or whatever it is that you want as far as a musket goes, okay? Now, in order to get there, you close ranks. You have two ranks. You have the back rank, you have the front rank. Now, when you're going to march, the drummer plays a very, very important part. The music is always in the back. Usually, one company has one drummer, okay? The drummer, what they're doing right now is going to, I don't know whether it's true or not. Well, it's prime and load, so it's going to get noisy. Okay? What they're primarily doing right now is going to load their muskets. It's a 3-step process, 4-step when you're out in the line. Basically what they do is they handle the cartridge, tear it, open the pan, put powder in, and cast it up. Butt never goes on the ground. Okay? Bring it up the shoulder and do retreat. The music is telling you, hear that means prime and load again. So the officer, if he doesn't say anything, the music tells him. Because on the battlefield, there's an awful lot of noise, as well as smoke. You get 500-600 people out there or more, then you've got a lot of smoke on the battlefield. So the music plays a very, very important part. It tells you when to retreat, when to turn left, when to turn right, when to advance, when to step back. All the muskets supposed to go off at once, but you never know about a musket. Okay? The other big thing is that the idea of shooting a musket like that is to get as much lead over that way. You don't really aim your musket. It's like a shotgun. It's a smooth bore. You got a cartridge. You put the powder in. You shove the whole thing down with the paper in it, and you shoot it across the battlefield. All right? The big thing about this is you're supposed to be able to load anywhere from 3 to 4 times a minute. You only carry 25 cartridges on the battlefield to start with. So when you shoot like that, it doesn't take long to use your ammunition. A lot of your time on the battlefield is spent maneuvering your troops where you want them, or to force the other side. They have skirmishers that go out and tantalize the other side, and they kind of pull them into a trap if you can get them. The ideal tactic is to hit them on the left side or the right side, rather than straight on. Looks good in the movies, but most devastation is done from the side. Now that was a decent volley. Okay? There again, what he's playing now is ceasefire. So everybody knows that they're done shooting, they're not going to shoot anymore. So they're proposing what he wants to do with the troops, whether he wants to turn them around. They have several different commands. You want to keep your line straight, and you want the shortest people in front, because the guy in the back has to rest his gun on the shoulder, shoot over top, okay? So if you're short, get in front of him, okay? Because you get the first round, you get the second. Right? As they are marching, beat of the drum, left foot. So we're marching in a straight line. Everything is done on the left foot. Okay? Meaning that you stop on your left foot, you start on your left foot. When you go to take cartridges, you go to check your muskets. They're going through what they call safety drill. Back line takes 3 steps back and determine what to do. They search their arms, tap it. They will sometimes draw the ramrods. And this is all safety out there. The other thing that we have out there on the field nowadays is prison guard. Okay, in case something happens, it hits that piece of leather and the gun won't go off. All right, so now what they're doing is they're searching arms. So they'll drop the ramrods down, and the captain will go along and say, okay, 17, 17, 17. And then somebody in the back line will check to do exactly the same thing. You put your rammer in fingertip, you'll say return rammer, then you'll come right up the shoulder, and then you'll be ready to go from there.
You're right, close to the front, march.
Now close the rank means you step up close to the person in front of you.
The front, march.
Just back in our century, you never put it on ground. If you watch a Civil War, you put it on ground. I guess the guys in the Civil War have Civil War ground would yell at it. Okay, so it's all done here. So it can swing. Okay. Evidently, they're going back to camp. So if you turn this way, an officer time like that. Mine, I can take that. Okay. Like I said, you're probably wondering, ladies and gentlemen, like that, how is that all relevant to you? You come here like that, well, that's old stuff and such. But you have to remember, just like war fighting today, like that, is everything is relevant and based on the technology. The reality it is, as we talk about for the Marine Corps, like it's the Marine behind the trigger that is the deciding factor in any type of combat and such. Now, you look during the American Revolution, and this held true all the way up through the American Civil War, and these linear tactics, you're probably wondering, by modern standards, what idiot is going to walk out on a battlefield, stand up in a straight line with a big white X across his chest and get shot at? But let's put things into perspective. And like that, you've got a muzzle-loading musket. It is a smoothbore, flintlock weapon. It takes 10 separate steps to load that weapon just to fire one range down range. And like that, because it is a military musket, they wanted basically proficiency and ease of loading. They weren't worried about accuracy, so the ball for this 75 caliber Tower musket was actually a 69 caliber ball. That means the first couple of rounds is loaded down the barrel is going to rattle around like a BB in a boxcar. Like that. But what that does, as black powder, which is very dirty burning, starts to build up fouling within the barrel, that means that the soldier can still proficiently continue to load the barrel all the way down. Now you're probably wondering, why does he have to worry about ramming the ball all the way down into the chamber? The metallurgy of the time, and like it's still very thin barrels up front and such, and as the barrel gets dirty, if you seat the ball and don't push it all the way down to the bottom into the chamber, you've essentially created a pipe bomb. So you have much chance of the weapon blowing up in your face as done. So every soldier was taught the muscle memory that they must stand up in battle, pull that rammer, and push that ball all the way till it's seated on top of the powder in the chamber to make the weapon fire efficiently. Well, that technology, obviously, as I said, very, very proficient soldier could load and fire 3 to 4 times a minute. The average most of the time was about 2, maybe 3 rounds a minute. And it was presenting and putting volley fire down range. So why do they stand up? Why do they stand shoulder to shoulder, not take space? If you wanted to get ultimate proficiency out of these weapons, the idea is you mass them. The idea of a machine gun is not new. The difference was in the colonial era up through the War of 1812, like that, instead of one man with an automatic weapon putting a lot of rounds down range very quickly, you took 100 men standing side to side in a single command, you're putting that volley of fire down range. The idea being like that, you mass your fire, you're standing elbow to elbow. This is why the manual of arms that take doing proficiency in each movement and loading the musket and moving around, is that is going to basically, the more proficient you are, the more volume and proficient fire you're going to be able to do. So each soldier was trained how to load and fire their musket and move at the same time as the men with them. They would stand up in line, and like that now, the bright uniform, it says, why was it stupid, not stupid at that time, like that, to have the white X's, the bright colored uniforms and such? Intimidate factor, we use the same thing today. Like if you know you're going to be standing up and getting close and personal with the opponent, like that, and we're actually missing something off this weapon, that was a quintessential part of the combat of the period. A 16-inch bayonet, which was always mounted on the weapon in combat. Your ultimate goal was one human wall to close with the other human wall with that bayonet. If one side or the other does their job well, like say for us as Marines today, like that, we talk about squared away uniforms, snap and pop and drill, like say in proficiency and drill and such. That's a derivative of warfighting going back 200, 250 years. If you're standing on one side, like that, whether it be British, American, militia, or regulars, like that, you're using the same technology during the American Revolution. Again, this was a break-off of the British Empire, and like that, we were English. And like so, we're using the same tactical doctrine, the same weapons, the same technology and such. So what's going to be the game changer? So if you're looking at it, the British with their bright red uniforms squared away like that, but it's the presentation of those uniforms and the men in those uniforms being very disciplined, very, like say, striking the drill like that. If you're standing on the other side, even before you get into musket range, and you see these brightly colored uniforms, well kept, well, like say, white clean leather and such like that. Snap and pop and drill. Every man is moving at one. You're sending a psychological message to the other side. Says, look at me. I have confidence of my soldiers on my left and right. I'm going to come over there and kick your butt. And like so, needs to say, if that is done well, even if everything else is equal, and like that, the better trained soldier, the better trained Marine is going to like that is going to be the game changer, because are you going to wait around if you think he's a little bit better you are until he can get over there and stick that bait in into you? So at the time, just like we look at our modern camouflage patterns, even today, we as United States Marines have specialized camouflage that's different from all the other services. Not only is it proficient in combat, but it's an identifier. Both the good
good guy and the bad guy knows who we are. And like says, look at us. We've got a reputation we're building on, and like that, be afraid. We're going to come over to do it. That tradition goes all the way back before the American Revolution. We got it from the British, and that's one of the reasons why the British, like say, their proficiency and advertising that proficiency in their demonstration of drill in the bright uniforms and such was an extreme intimidation factor, and they applied that intimidation factor all the way through. The biggest game changer between that, we were citizen soldiers and like that. We were fighting for what we considered freedom versus the average British soldier was a conscript or somebody that was there as a paid professional. Like that. And again, the human element behind either side like that would be the game changer. Now, a soldier here like that could demonstrate talking about what it would take to load the musket and such. He would start off the shoulder, and if you can imagine, they're standing elbow to elbow, 2 ranks deep. Now, like that, the normal, like so for safety, he's going to take the bayonet off. Normally, the bayonet would be fixed, and the reason why these angular bayonets are shaped like they were at the period is to allow the weapon to have the flat side forward and the offset, so you could still use the rammer and load the weapon while the bayonet is being fixed. First thing you want to do like that is prime and load. You bring the weapon around, and like that, you bring it to the side, you draw forward the paper cartridge. Now, this is self-contained. To be in the military at that time, you had to have 2 teeth in that so you could tear the cartridge open. You tear the cartridge open, bring it down, and then you'd have to put a small amount of that powder into a flash pan. This was your ignition system. This was a primer that would actually fire. And just like a Boy Scout today, it uses a flint and steel to actually ignite it. Once the powder's in, it would shut pan. Like that, the weapon's at half-cock safety. He cast it about to the left-hand side, and then charged with cartridge. Now, like that, he poured the powder down, making sure he didn't put the ball first and then the powder. Now, like that, put it down. He'd then draw forth the rammer, place it in, ram down, cartridge. Now, like that, he'd then ram it down. Again, he wanted to ensure that that ball and powder were seated all the way into the chamber. Return your rammer. Bring the weapon up. Shoulder your follow. And like I said, and then to fire, face to your left. Like I say, poise your follow. They bring the weapon up. That way they can inspect it. They're sure and half-cock it like cock your follow. And then at the time, like I say, it wasn't until von Steuben in 1778 started coming in. The Americans started with the first to use it. At this point, though, in 1776, the command would merely be present. They'd bring the weapon up to present, and that would be the aim position. They were not actually aiming the weapons and like that. And then the command, fire. They give fire downrange, and that the command fire, everybody in the line would fire at the same time. The idea in not aiming at an individual target, but he mass lead downrange, hoping to break a hole in their human wall. Once he's fired, he'd come back to the like say prime position, and then either he would receive the command if they were going to reload, half-cock your firelock, and like that, and go through, or like say shut pan, shoulder arms. Everything was done like what we look at drill today is ceremonial, the snap and pop and drill and such like that, and we look at that ceremonial use today. That proficiency in drill was quintessential 200 years ago like that to be proficient in combat. And our traditions today, like the military utilizing those techniques and like that, derived directly from warfighting 200, 250 years ago. Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
My name is John K. Anderson. I know,
and you're one. You've just enlisted as one of my Marines, haven't you?
I have a Marine.
Good to go. Like I say, we'll put you to work as a Marine. Well, you're up.